So pyrometric cones are something that's important for you to know if you are running your own kiln or a kiln at school. So pyrometric cones are made of different types of chemicals and different types of clay that melt at specific temperatures, and they've been formulated to do so. So I'm going to read the actual definition to you out of my kiln manual. It says, pyrometric cone is a slender, unfired piece of clay. They're clay pyramids that soften and bend when the kiln load has matured to the degree temperature desired. Two sizes of cones are available, a junior size and this your regular. They're used in the kiln setter model kiln, like older kilns. I'll explain that in a minute. And self-supporting cones are also available. You can order these online. You can get them from your local clay store. That's where I got mine from. Anyway, you can get different size boxes. This is what size the small junior cones come, and then the larger ones. One really important thing is you need to put your pyrometric cones in your kiln on the kiln shelf where you can see them by looking through one of the peepholes on your kiln while you're firing. So you can look in there, make sure you wear safety goggles and make sure that they are like a welding face mask so you don't damage your eyes while you're looking in your kiln. So you can see if they've reached temperature or not. I do have a computerized kiln, but I still use the pyrometric cones because my kiln is getting pretty old and I want to make sure that it still reaches temperature. Today what I actually need to do is make some more of these. So this is a series of cones that are put in order. And if I read really close on here, we can see that this is cone temperature number 4, 5, and 6. So I made this little like boat shape or trough, if you will, and there's an indentation here to catch this number 4 cone. So it should melt almost completely, and then cone 5 should be just a little bit bent. So then that would let me know that my kiln got to the temperature that I wanted it to. So I actually need to make some of these today, which is why I thought, well, this is going to be a great topic to talk about. And then cone 6 is there just to see, again, if I overfired. And if none of these melt, then that tells me that my kiln did not get to temperature and I have an issue with elements out, or it misfired with the programming or something. So this is actually a fired set of cones, and I'm sorry if that is difficult to see because it's very light color on a very light color. But you can see here what happened with cone 4. It completely melted down flat, and cone 5 did too. And so this tells me this kiln load that I fired and where I put this was about the middle of kiln shelf, in the middle of my load. I didn't put it at the top or the bottom, I put it right in the middle. And this tells me my temperature actually did get to cone 6 and possibly higher because the cone completely melted. So this new batch of pyrometric cones I'm going to put together today, I'm going to put a cone 7 in there as well, so I can see if I'm firing my glazes too hot and if I'm continuing to get to the right temperature. So to make one of these, I'm going to use some clay here that I just wedged. So I've already got the air pockets out, and I'm going to actually make like a coil. So just like you're making a coil pot, and we don't want to make this too thick, or we don't want any air pockets in it either. So I'm just going to kind of smash it down with my thumb. And I've got I've actually run out of cone 5s, so I'm going to use, I'm going to improvise here. You got to use what you have, right? I'm going to use a cone 4, a cone 6, and a cone 7. So even though I don't have cone 5, if I can watch what happens to the other cones, it will let me know if I got to temperature or not. We have a cone 4, 6, and 7. So you want to put these in here a little bit at an angle, because if you put them a little bit at an angle, when they melt, they will fall in that trough like you want them to. And you want to space them a little bit apart. So I made this way too big. I did that on purpose because I'd rather make it too big than too small. So I went ahead and just laid another cone in this trough to make sure I make this long enough if that melts. And I actually only made it a little bit too large. And then I'm going to kind of close this little, let's call it a canoe shape. So I'm going to just kind of press that down, so if and when those cones melt, they don't melt on my kiln shelf and ruin it. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself a series of those, so then when I fire, I can watch my kiln and make sure it's getting to the right temperature. Thanks for watching.